Welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of Disney Plus Reviews. I'm one of your co-hosts, Phil Souza, and I'm joined by my good friend, co-host, and an expert ATST pilot, Jack Alterman.
Thank you. We don't get enough credit these days for what we did for the Empire. People really cheer for the Rebels, and they don't understand how hard we worked to get all of the forest of Endor cleared. Now, listen. You see the Ewoks as fuzzy, lovable. I saw them as an invasive species.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's your opinion.
Okay, we got to stop that. This could go really poor. I love the Ewoks. They're cuddly and fuzzy, and they deserve their own standalone crime-fighting show, Ewok Detective Service, starring, Admiral Akbar as the kooky neighbor that lives next door.
I would love to see that.
That would be awesome.
Sitcom.
Well, that's like my earlier when I sent you that text about maybe we'll stick with the Mandalorian long enough where the Mandalorian can watch Baby Yoda, the kid, I guess is what we're calling him now.
Yeah.
Watch him grow, and he'll grow up, and they can start their own detective agency on a spin-off show.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
I do that, did I?
A crime there was?
Hey, okay, let me ask you this question because I legit don't know the answer of it. Does Yodel? No, it's not Yodel.
Yeah.
What's the? It's Yodel, isn't it? The female Yoda that we see.
Yeah.
I think it's Yodel.
There's only one. Who knows,
but
man?
Does she have any lines? Does she ever speak?
I think she just sat there and blinked her eyes. I think they were just like, look, it's another.
I mean, I didn't
Yoda species, and even then, like it's in the Yalak or whatever is in the. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And someone's like, it's not the Yalak, but it's like that was even just in the extended universe stuff in the books. So
right.
I mean, it wasn't like that's not even canon.
Right.
They're actually, I think they're pulling a lot of stuff from that extended universe.
Well, and also previously non-canon stuff like the holiday special that we've talked about a couple times.
They really paid a lot of homage to that thing.
Yeah.
So.
And that stuff is now canon, which is really crazy. I think it's...
As long as Itchy.
Yeah.
As long as Chewbacca's dad, Itchy, is not canon, we're good.
It is interesting that parts of the holiday special are canon now, but not all of it. Like, it's not fair to assume that the entire holiday
Diana
special...
Ross's weird, psychedelic... Itchy moment is not good for anyone, so we don't need to see that.
Well, if you're just joining us for the first time for Disney Plus Reviews, we are an unofficial Disney Plus podcast. If you couldn't tell already, we're going to spoil all the episodes that we review of The Mandalorian on this show. We're going to get into some spoilers on episode 4 of The Mandalorian today. And we will obviously go back and watch the episode. If you haven't seen episode 4 of The Mandalorian, watch that first. We don't want to spoil it for you. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable if you just watch it, and we may have already given you a couple hints about what's in the episode, but I think you'll still have a good time. So we do have an email address on the show. We just got that about a week ago, a little late.
Well, we're moving on up. We finally got that email. It finally came in the mail.
Yeah.
And we can use it now. So.
Yeah, that's why it took us a few weeks, because we had to wait for the email to arrive. But yeah, our email address is Disney Plus Reviews. That's PLUS spelled out. Disney Plus Reviews at hotmail.com. So go ahead and hit us up there. Let us know what you like about the show, some things that you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. If you want to give us your own reviews of certain episodes that you've seen, or just The Mandalorian in general, how you think it's going, we would love to have you, your thoughts and your audio clips, whatever you send us onto the show. So, and thanks for joining us. This has been a lot of fun for Jack and I, just to kind of, I mean, we would do this anyways, I think, even if we weren't
just recording our conversation about this great show.
Yeah.
And honestly, Disney Plus in general, it's a unique, it's such a unique thing, Disney Plus. It will be it's a game changer as far as Netflix was a game changer for streaming. Now Disney Plus has like upped the game.
Oh yeah.
And how people are going to do business on all this.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid though they're going to have all these like little silos of networks, and we're all going to have to subscribe to all the little silos to get the content. And they're just going to bleed us dry.
Isn't that already happening, though?
Well, I'm saying it's really going to ratchet up now, because TV, as we know it, is already starting to erode and go away. And now it's becoming this kind of thing. And Netflix started that. Disney Plus is really going to hone in on it. At some point, they'll be like, here's this, and they've talked about the NBC streaming service at some point, and I know a lot of people are like, yeah. But so then,
is it called the Peacock or
whatever? Yeah, allegedly.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, like they'll take Seinfeld and they'll take The Office and they'll take all those things. Once those deals all run out for those other networks that have it, and then they will, will all have. I mean, if you want that content, you'll have to buy their service.
Yeah,
and I don't know that model is sustainable because people will be like.
And eventually, we're just going to go back to basically paying for cable. Like,
and then Disney and NBC and all those people will just become their own cable companies and buy. It's just like it's going to come full circle, and we'll all be like, and this used to be called DirecTV, but now it's called Disney satellite hookup into your eyeballs.
Yeah,
direct download. Disney direct download into your irises.
That is the future, my friends.
It's a scary future, Orwellian future.
We are going to be reviewing every single episode of The Mandalorian. So if you hit the subscribe button today on what you're listening to, whatever podcast player that you're listening to us on, we're on pretty much everything. What we promised you is we're gonna review every episode. We're not just gonna quit halfway. So we're actually halfway through already. 4 out of 8 episodes. We're
and I quit,
episode
Phil.
4. Yeah, and when we're done, this is gonna be the last episode of Disney Plus Reviews.
It's a joke.
But no, we're gonna review every single episode of The Mandalorian, and then we'll jump on
another show,
whatever is next.
Yes,
yeah, in January. So that's what we're looking at over the span of the show. So. What we're going to do today is what we do every week. We're going to kind of go beat by beat through the episode, kind of recap what happened in it, discussing as we go along, just kind of giving our thoughts on how we felt like the moment landed. At the end, we'll talk about our favorite moments, our top 3 moments of the episode, and then cover some questions, thoughts, predictions, what we want to see in future episodes. And then we'll usually end with what else are we watching on Disney Plus, just to kind of cap off the show.
I've got a doozy for you, sir.
I can't wait. So, okay, so let's jump into the recap. So, where we last left, at the end of episode 3, the big question that you and I had at the end of our podcast last episode was, where is he going?
Yeah.
Where is he? He's obviously on the run. He's just, basically burned every bridge he possibly could, except for with the other Mandalorians, that part of their covert is what they called it.
Yeah.
So other than this Mandalorian covert, he pretty much has said sayonara to everyone he's ever known.
Everybody.
And where is he going? Where could he possibly go? So what did you think? How was the resolution of that for you?
I thought it was interesting. He picked a basically, it's not uncivilized, but it's modern tech planet.
Right.
An intelligent species enough, not like a primitive species.
He calls it a backwater scug hole.
It is a backwater scug hole. But he's saying that because it's undeveloped. The Empire didn't really reach out to that part of the galaxy because it's so far out there.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we do find out that there is some Empire technology on the planet.
Super cool.
Which was awesome. The overall tone of this episode. You start out, you find this species that's on the planet. I say species; they're humanoid. They are humans, basically.
Yeah, they are. This is actually one of the few races that is really human. I don't know, the race that Luke and Lando, those guys, what we consider to be human people. Are they ever? They're never called humans, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, they're not humans because they live in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, but they are humanoid and like us, basically. One thing we have not really said much about, and maybe we've mentioned it, but the directors there are different directors for multiple episodes. The director for this one is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah.
Opie's daughter. She was in Lady in the Water.
Yeah.
Look at her now. She lived in a pool. And now she's directing episodes. What? I mean, it's amazing.
She's come so far.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
she doesn't appear in this episode, but she did direct it, and that's worth noting.
I'm going to say this.
She's probably one of the bigger, other than Jon Favreau, one of the bigger directors.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not meaning to objectify. I'm only giving compliments here. Julia Jones, Omera, who plays the village
matriarch, kind of
matriarch. She's a widow. She is a very attractive person. Mm-hmm. Then you turn around and what's her face? what's her face?
Oh, what's her face?
Who's the main main lady here?
Oh, what's her mug?
Gina Carano, former UFC fighter.
Yeah. Okay. See, I didn't. Yeah. Yeah. She's a looker,
dude. And I'm not. Hey, she dated Henry Cavill.
Oh, really?
For quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you're just saying.
He
made this. Honestly, those two people alone, I was just like this.
Well, she's got guns too. Like you can see,
and he means.
And I don't mean literal guns.
Well, and he means her arms are.
Yeah,
he means her arms are.
She does.
She's ripped.
She does brandish some weapons. But what I'm saying is, her. Yeah, she
is a force.
From the very first scene, that fight scene that you see, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But that first fight scene between her and the Mandalorian, she at one point they hit the ground at the same time and kind of drop their weapons. I'm like, dude, look at her bicep.
Yes,
I was like, holy crap! I didn't know she was a UFC fighter. That makes a lot of sense.
And she only lost one match, but like what I've learned about UFC, I like UFC, I watch UFC, is once someone loses, there's a good chance they never come back. Ronda Rousey has like 2 losses and she was done.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She'll never go back to UFC.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it messes them up. Like I'm telling you, this is a brutal sport.
Huh.
Like she's not doing, and I love pro wrestling. And if you guys, I probably haven't talked about that much on this show, but I really love pro wrestling. My son and I, you too, like we like pro wrestling. It's fixed. If you didn't know that already, it's actually probably faker than the Mandalorian. There's actually more real parts of it. But I love the athleticism, blah 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 blah. Right? But UFC is not fixed, and UFC is brutal.
Yeah.
And when you get knocked out in real life in that kind of form, and you just get brutalized, so she hasn't went. I mean, she has one loss, and she never went back, really. Yeah. So, anyway, long story short.
She's a perfect casting for this role, I think.
Let's go back to this. They were the Mandalorian and the kid, Baby Yoda, but the kid are flying through the galaxy. He is talking to Baby Yoda, and he's trying to teach Baby Yoda about language. This is what we do with little kids. This is very intelligent. The Mandalorian has parental skills he didn't even understand. He's already talking to this kid. Mm-hmm. This kid's going to grow up and have a great vocabulary thanks to the Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian's talking to him. Now, this is a planet. It looks like there's life on it, but it's a backwater scug hole, and no one will know we're here. We can lay low here for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's a perfect place. So he lands. The villagers, before this all happens, the villagers are there. They're fishing out of these ponds, picking these blue goldfish, like blue little fish out of there. However, in the distance, you hear this Jurassic Park style, and one laser blast.
And did you know right then, just from the audio?
Oh, it was just huge.
The audio cue, I was just like, that's an ATST.
I didn't honestly initially think that. I just thought, oh, these other people, these raiders, and they just call them raiders. They're like their faces have like a dog-looking face to them.
Yeah, I heard from that very first audio cue. I was like, that's not a blaster sound. That's some kind of a. I figured it was either an AT-AT or an ATST.
Yeah, and so they basically come in, they steal their fish, and then they run off, killing several of the villagers, and Kamara, what did I say her name was? Kamara, which is
Omera.
Omera, not Kamara. That's actually a UFC hold. It's a triangle hold, actually. But Omera hides with her daughter, we're assuming, and they run off. And then it starts the intro, and then we see the Mandalorian and the kid flying in. The kid is pushing buttons because he's a kid. He doesn't know any better. He just likes to push the buttons.
Yeah, and the Mandalorian says, "Stop touching things.
Stop touching things."
He actually picks him up again, and
it's very kid like. Now he didn't have his stroller anymore to put him in. But then he goes, "Okay, listen, you stay here. Do not move. Don't touch anything. Got it?" And the kid just looks up at him with those big old eyes, and he goes, "All right." And he goes, and it's so funny. The door, I laughed out loud. The door comes down on his ship.
Yeah.
And as it does, Baby Yoda's just looking up at him. He's like,
what the heck?
What the heck? So anyway, he goes into the town, which that actually surprised me. I think he's just going to live out in the woods.
He just went straight into society. Yeah, I mean, they make reference that so the planet is Sorgan. I don't think we said that, but like from the very beginning, I mean, it's pretty evident. Like even in the very first clip, like you're seeing like farmers in the middle of nowhere. Most of this planet is probably very rural, but he goes straight for society. Like I did think that also that was kind of weird.
Yeah, and I guess the whole theme that this is a Western.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep with that.
Yeah, they have to go.
And that's a very Western thing to do.
This is the saloon scene. Like he steps into the saloon.
I think he's going to have a lot of those in this series. And we have it pulled up here, but there's a little droid thing carrying the krill fish or whatever it is, and they're harvesting the fish.
By the way, that's something I've always found really fascinating about just Star Wars in general, beyond this show, all of Star Wars. It doesn't matter how backwoods, how poor, everyone has a droid. Everyone. Like, I mean, the Jawas are selling droids to Aunt Beru and stuff like that on Tatooine. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of money you make; everyone can afford a droid, and I think that's really interesting.
It's part of their society, and they're fishing. And here come the raiders of these dog-looking creatures. And I'm sure there's I should say that there's probably
they're called Klatooinian. I think is how maybe how you pronounce it. I don't think they ever reference it. Which that's another thing I'm starting to realize with the show is that names of species, races, and even names of characters are not that important in this show. No, like they don't really like when you watch any of the movies. Okay, that's Luke, that's Leia, that's Han, that's Darth Vader. I mean, everyone has a name and everyone knows everyone's name. In this show, we still don't even know the name of the main character of the show, which is really interesting to me. And like, I had to look up the names of the characters. I think Omera is actually named at one point. Winta, her child, is named at one point.
Winta. Hey, what's your favorite season?
Winta. The girl, the girl that helps him, this mercenary, kind of a mercenary. She's a gun for hire. Her name is Cara, but she's only named once in the entire episode. So I found that to be very interesting. Like every episode, I don't think that the Kuil character, I don't think his name is literally ever mentioned, and he's in 2 episodes.
Which that's probably just from a casting thing or from the script that came out that's how they knew his name.
Yeah.
The Klatooinians.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
At any rate, they are the only real they're in the extended universe stuff, and allegedly were slaves for the Hutts at one point, and there is one of them on Jabba's skiff, and his name is Barada.
Okay.
And he is in the Return of the Jedi movie.
They're kind of a bulldog-like in their faces.
They really are.
And have like huge fang kind of teeth. And
they look rough.
But I really like them.
They seem nice.
They seem vicious.
Oh yeah, vicious. I wanted to, when I saw them. You know what song I heard? Who let the dogs out?
Let's talk about that cat. So there's
oh my gosh,
there's like a brief scene. I thought the design on this cat was awesome. Like I really loved it, and I wanted to see it for more than like the 5 seconds that we got to see it.
Yes.
Here's what fascinates me about that cat. That's probably the only time we'll ever see that species of animal in Star Wars ever.
Yeah.
And someone spent a lot of time making that thing, like drawing it out, basically like making the concept for this thing.
Yeah.
And we saw it for like 6 seconds. I was like, wow, that is super cool. And then we never see it again. And we probably never will ever see it again.
No, and it like hissed at the kid. He walks into the saloon with the kid. He orders up some bone meal soup. For the kid. He chooses not to eat, which we've yet to see him up till this episode. We hadn't really seen him eat or we thought he never takes the helmet off.
Or drink, yeah.
Or drink or anything. So we're like, how is this possible? The waitress comes up, offers him, what would you need? He's basically like, who's that person in the corner? Because he walks past somebody and it's, what's her face? What's her name?
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune.
Yeah.
Gina Carano's character. And she's the waitress is very vague at first, and then he pays her some money. Oh, she came in. She'd been here.
Is this the character
for several weeks?
Either on last week's episode of Disney Plus Reviews or the week before, you were talking about when are we going to see this actress?
Yeah,
in a trailer. Is this the girl you were talking about?
This is her.
Okay.
And then the other was Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh yeah, and we haven't seen him.
Still haven't seen him. We finally got enough of Carl Weathers, and then But yeah, I mean, we're just looking for these people that they've kind of. IG-11 is another one that's on the main art, and I assume maybe him or another IG will come back.
Yeah, they have to.
But it's just weird because even Gina Carano is on the main art of the whole series. Like if you go to Disney Plus, like she's on there. It's weird.
She's the Cara character.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but like I may have seen. I'll just say this: I may have seen where she's in a future episode. I'll just leave it at that for right now.
I'll take that.
So
I'm glad.
She basically bolts on him. Like he looks over and she's gone.
He uses, which is awesome and something we have not seen him use, heat tracking. He tracks the footprints.
Yeah.
He has a button on his gauntlet.
He uses it twice in the episode, but this is the first time.
And the first one is when he's tracking her, and the footprints, of course, stop, and he doesn't just immediately look up.
I know.
Is like,
so I'm watching this. This is the first episode I watched with my wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I told you this, but she caught up, and then we watched episode 4 together.
What does she think of it?
She loves it.
Does she?
Yeah, and she's not. I don't know that she would tell you that she is a Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would tell you that she enjoys the Star Wars movies when we watch them. But I think she's only seen each movie maybe one time a piece. So, and she's not seen any of the peripheral stuff. Like I don't think she hasn't even seen Rogue One. So she's kind of a cursory, kind of borderline Star Wars person. But even, like when they get to that scene where he's following the footsteps, she goes, "Look up. She's right above you." Like she called it before he looked up.
So anyway, she jumps down on him, and then they start to have a big fight, and she's completely holding her own against arguably one of the better fighters you're ever going to see in the Star Wars universe. And
one thing you got to know about my wife, I'll mention her a couple more times. She loves to talk during episodes, which does not, it doesn't bother me. I was going to watch this episode twice anyways. I've been watching every episode at least twice. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's fine. You know, we have a good conversation during the show. But she said something really interesting as we were watching the fight scene play out. She goes, "How is she taking him right now?" Like he was really struggling against her. And we come to find out why later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was really interesting because for the first time in the series, we see the Mandalorian struggling in a fight. Like he's not just handing it to everyone that's around him.
Yeah.
He's usually taking 4 guys on at once.
Yeah, but I think that was also to flesh out what was going to happen, and then the fact that she's a helpful person to add to his extended family, basically.
Yeah.
I say extended family. That's the best thing I can describe.
She's a great character. I other than like Kuil, like she's the best character they've had in the series.
Wouldn't you like to see this crew that has Kuil on it, on it, Baby Yoda?
I want to. I could be wrong. I want to say that's almost a definite at this point. Like I think
you think so. He has a crew.
They have. Maybe not like a full squad of people, but I bet towards the end of the episode he's gathering up all the help he can get.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So anyway, they end up holding each other at gunpoint. Baby Yoda comes out, slurping down the bone meal soup.
So cute.
And he looks at her and goes, "Want some soup?" They end up sitting down and talking. She was a former rebel shock trooper.
Dude, her backstory is so interesting.
And she basically, once the Empire fell, she kind of had to hide out because she was kind of wanted.
Yeah, actually, she says that she played cleanup for the Imperial soldiers after Endor, and she doesn't specifically say it was on Endor, but she said she just references after Endor. I was a part of a like drop ship kind of. They're almost like special forces, like Marines, kind of like going in, no support, no air support, nothing, and cleaning up like all the. She calls them imps, so like cleaning up all the Imperial soldiers that are left over after the war. And so that's why she can kind of hold her own in like a hand-to-hand combat situation.
Because she's a BA.
She's special forces and basically, didn't have any kind of ATST kind of, mobile like machinery kind of support. They got in, they got out, they got the job done. And so, yeah, she is, but then she also references, because he's like, she bolts on him because she thinks that he's a bounty hunter coming for her.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I assume that's why you were here. He's like, "No, I'm not here for you." And she says, and he says, "So how'd you end up here?" And she said, the only line she says, and it's really cryptic, but I want to know more, is she says, let's just call it an early retirement. I think she's a deserter. Like, I think that there was a battalion, some kind of, company that she was a part of, and I think she just left them. Like, she just turned her back on them. So,
who knows? We will find out.
She is basically ex rebellion, ex Republic soldier. Yeah.
She basically goes, look, I found this planet first. I'm hiding out here though, and so. You got to have to find someplace else to go. And he, by the way, really cool. He's like, well, guess this is your place. We got to find some. He tells Baby Yoda, we're gonna have to find someplace else to go. He's at his ship, repairing a couple things, making sure everything's ready. And then all of a sudden, there's these two farmers that come up, and they are basically saying, hey, look, we need your help. We've got these people that have stormed our village. And we would like you to help kill them all. We have money. Here, look.
They say that several times.
We have this money. It's basically nothing. Remember, he's got all the money he needs at this point, and
that's true.
He's handing out, all kinds of tips to the waitress at the, cantina. I don't know what to call it. This cantina.
Yeah, she's like, let me have the top shelf for you.
Yeah,
you got money.
Yeah, you have money. So. Anyway, he says buzz off, basically.
Yeah, because he's not interested in money, like you said, but what he is interested in is a nice, quiet place to lay low.
Off the grid, yes. Yeah. And then they basically say, oh, yeah, we'll give you lodging, and you can stay there, and blah, 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 blah. And so he's like, okay, but I've got to basically have to go find somebody else before we go. He goes and finds Cara Dune.
Yeah, it's really fun. That exchange is really funny. I laughed out loud when he said it, but he goes, so you got a nice, quiet, off the grid place to stay, and you got lodging, right? And they're like, yeah, we have all that. And they're like, okay, I'll do it. Oh wait, I'll take your money too. He takes the money, but then in the next scene we see that he just gives it to Cara, basically, because he wants help.
Yeah, and so he talks her into it, which is interesting, and she does it. They go and do some recon. Or actually, they first talk to the farmers, and the farmers tell them, hey, it's these Clatuines or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They
just call them the Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah.
Yeah.
And they keep raiding our village, and they're killing us. And so they're like, okay, well, can any of you fight? And the... get the name wrong. What's the lady's name that I just said earlier?
Omera.
Omera, like, he's basically does any of you guys know how to fire a blaster or fire?
Yeah.
She raises her hand, and turns out she's a crack shot too. So she has a background.
She's
as well.
The only one. But
she's a really good shot. So it's kind of like one of those, like, what's going on here? Like, what exactly is this person kind of background? And they have a little bit of an exchange, those two together, and you kind of feel like he may stick around and, maybe stay on this planet at some point.
Is that before or after they do the recon? Like, where they actually...
Well, this is... I think I'm getting my... I think they went and did the recon first.
I think it is the recon first, because they basically come back and they're angry at them. Well, they're like, hey, you didn't tell us the whole story.
This is why. Because they go into the woods and they're tracking... He's got his heat tracking on, and he sees it and it stops, and they look basically down, and there's this huge... Is it AT? What is it?
ATST.
ATST track.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh gosh. And so they get back and they're like,
well, that changes the whole thing. Like, at first they were like, okay, well, I can take 20 guys or whatever. I mean, yeah. But then they see this massive footprint on the ground. They're like, okay, that's different. And so they go back, and I think the funniest line in the entire episode for me was when he comes back, and then, like, it literally, like, just cuts to a shot quickly, and it's him and her, Cara, standing in front of all of the krill farmers, and he goes, bad news, you can't live here anymore. I laughed Cara, for a solid 3 or 4 seconds, probably.
And Cara goes, man, you got no bedside manner. Bad news, can't live here anymore.
And then she basically says the same thing. She just puts it nicer. She's like, no, seriously, like, you can't stay here. Yeah. Like, you need to leave.
We've came here, our ancestors came here, and we've developed this place, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, they've got you outgunned by,
I think what's so interesting about this exchange, because the two of them are addressing them, and the krill are actually, the farmers are trying to talk them into, no, we can do it. and so like the two of them, they're like, we hired you, like you guys took the job. Why aren't you like going to help us?
Yeah.
They're like, you don't understand. And one of the best lines from her in this whole thing is she goes, "You cannot fight that thing. There's no way. There's no scenario where we win."
Yeah, she talks about how she's seen an entire battalion of troops be wiped out by one.
Yeah, in a matter of minutes, just mowed down.
Yeah. So basically, they go. We have a training montage, and they're teaching part of the farmers that can't shoot. That's when they ask who can shoot. Omera raises her hand. The rest of them are like, we don't know. We're just poor farmers. And the other ones are teaching them to, stab things with sharp sticks.
Yeah.
And they have some people with blasters, and that's good.
So that as soon as we see this montage play out, it's you're starting to realize, like, I'm starting to get vibes of the Magnificent Seven.
Yes.
And Jessica and I we're sitting, like I said, watching this together, and we both looked at each other at the same time. We both said Magnificent Seven, like, because it is. I mean, this plot has been done a million times over, but all of them go back to like the Seven Samurai, technically.
Yes.
And then Magnificent Seven is the U.S. version of it that everyone knows. But this has been done in Star Trek. It's been done in you name it, X number of drama. Or
this
whatever.
is there was parts of this episode, I told you this too, that the parts of this episode are very Star Trek Next Generation.
Yes.
I had that feeling many, many times. Where they're like, look, we don't know how to stop the blah, blah, blah race of people that they've come here and they always come and take our lunch money.
Yeah.
They're always coming here and taking our lunch money and giving us wedgies.
There's always that moment.
But we don't know how to fight them. We're going to teach you how to fight them. And this is how we fight them. We sharpen sticks.
Yeah.
And we're going to teach you how to shoot. And then we're going to dig a big hole and put water in it.
So there's even an episode that plays out exactly the same way in Star Trek Enterprise, which is that on another podcast we talked a lot about that show. But there's another episode where Scott Bakula does the exact same thing.
So it's there.
Anyway, the clear inspiration for this episode is Magnificent Seven style plot, where basically guns for hire are brought in. They teach the locals how to fight. In the case of the Magnificent Seven, these Mexican banditos or whatever are coming to raid their town, and so they're one horse town, and so they teach them how to fight and fight back, and then presumably they never come back again because they've learned how to defend themselves. But the other movie that I was thinking about, and you and I kind of texted back and forth about this earlier, is I was thinking a lot about Return of the Jedi as I was watching this.
Yeah, you're right. There's some big similarities.
It's not Endor, like it's not full on like jungle. I mean, there are some like trees and stuff for sure, but I actually went back and watched a few clips of Return of the Jedi, and the AT-STs are exactly the same. Like they have the exact same foot.
And they're ominous.
Yeah, they're
in it too.
They look exactly the same, and the way that they have to fight them is exactly the same. So like the Ewoks, I mean, these things are like 3 feet tall. Maybe the tallest one is 3 feet.
Yes.
They obviously are not going to be able to take down an AT-ST by just like throwing their sticks at them and stuff like that. And so they end up doing like the log trap thing where it smashes the head
together.
And then like there's another one where like they roll logs down a hill.
Yeah, and it just takes over
like,
their legs.
Yeah,
and
it just tumbles on it. And so basically that's what they're going to try to do here is Cara says, hey, we can't take this thing head on, but what we can do is we can trap it.
Yes.
We can get it so that it'll walk into a pond, basically.
Right. And so they dig a big hole so it'll fall in there, and then they can attack it from there. They first go, which I think I like this. They go into their tent thing, and they go into their little village. Let's say village, little tent village, and they blow up. What is that room that has the liquid in it?
Oh, I don't know.
They make reference to its beer, like talking about it like it's. Did they make that reference?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't catch it. So.
Anyway, basically, they blow that up, and killing a few of them while they do. They actually beat up a bunch of them, and they do that though to get them to chase them back to the village.
Yeah,
they chase them back to the village. The AT-ST rises up. Its red, ominous eyes in the woods.
It looks so freaking good.
And so it chases them to the edge of the water, and they're like, "Please just step forward. Please just step forward." And they eventually bait it, shoot it. I mean, it's a fight scene. Yeah. And they eventually work it out. They sacrifice themselves a little bit to go to it, and it eventually steps into the big pond, and they attack it.
I think the most...
they don't kill all the bad guys, though. So, I mean, they're still around.
Yeah. I guess they could come back, but, I mean, they stick around for 3 weeks after that, and presumably there's no more fighting.
And that was something you said, too. It's like the first time that you realize oh, this is like not a concurrent like timeline. It's been several weeks.
But,
and honestly, how many weeks was it when he was traveling in space? So it could be
right.
He could have been away from, I don't know what planet that was, Tatooine or like planet that they were on,
right?
With Carl Weathers chasing him. And
how long did it take him? How long did it take him just to find a backwoods planet somewhere? Like he may have searched the charts. He actually talks about that at the end of this episode. He's like, "Well, it's back to the charts," and I don't know. Maybe he was doing that for several weeks before he even found Sorgan. So,
yeah, or months.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway. I thought the fight scene was really good. Mm-hmm. It was really tense, and especially like when the AT-ST would not take the bait. It was like kind of like teetering on the edge.
Well, I hit pause at one point on the episode to see how much time was left.
Yeah,
just to be like, well, they've got to come to a resolution.
Yeah,
and so how much time is left? Are they gonna get ransacked and then the village get exploded?
Right,
and then them have to make a big win in the end, and that actually didn't happen. It actually ended up tying the loose ends together.
I figured they would get it to step into the pond somehow. I just didn't know how they were going to do it. And Jessica and I were like screaming at the television at this point. They were like, "Take the bait, step forward. You got to fall into the trap." And eventually, Cara does this awesome maneuver where she basically takes his pulse rifle, and then like charges at it, which I'm like, that is awesome. Like that's a war maneuver for sure. So she charges at it, slides into this, it's also like a bunker type.
Yeah, well, the ground is popped up there and she can hide behind the ground.
Yeah. And so she slides into that and then just starts taking pot shots at its head, which was really cool to watch.
Yeah.
And then eventually she baits it into taking that step and it falls over.
And then she shoots the inside of the...
Well, the Mandalorian comes out with this thermal detonator, attaches it, I think, glues it basically to the head, runs off, it explodes, and then at that point the battle's pretty much over. Like the Raiders know there's nothing they can do.
Then you and by the way, you saw a few times that Baby Yoda is playing with the village kids
throughout the episode,
and they love it, and they love it, and so it's kind of this weird maybe they are going to end up on this planet. He's going to find true love.
There's a lot of talk.
True love's first kiss.
Yeah. This is a quiet episode, by the way. There's not a lot of action in it. Yeah. There's the kind of one-on-one fight scene between the two of them, and then the big fight scene at the end. It's also the longest episode. It's longer than the first episode.
Yeah, it's true.
And so...
a little more story to tell in this one, too, to flesh out. The other thing, we're leaving this out, too, the big thing in the end is that you see... a guy with a tracking fob or whatever you want to call it, tracker.
Oh, the very end. Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep. And then it pans up and it's just some random alien guy with the big long snout thing, the helmet, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's walking. And he basically lines up the Mandalorian in his sights and then looks over and puts Baby Yoda in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
Which when he had him in the crosshairs.
For a headshot, by the way.
Yeah, and could have gotten it. So
yeah, he's all lined up for a headshot, and then of course you don't see what happens, but you hear a gunshot go off, and the birds start flying away or whatever, and there's that moment of panic of like, oh no.
Yes.
Like I thought maybe he narrowly missed, like maybe like harmed him and like it wounded him but didn't kill him. There's no way they kill Baby Yoda in this series, by the way. But
that's right.
Maybe in the last episode, but if they do, there will be a tremendous backlash.
There's going to be some twist, but Baby Yoda's going to have some mega twist.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you. Yeah, that last episode is going to have some major twist.
Here's my prediction.
Or maybe before that. Maybe
he doesn't get killed. I think maybe at one point he does get wounded. I think so? I think we'll see that. Yeah, just for that
I bet it gets stolen.
Heartstring moment.
My bet is it gets stolen.
Oh,
anyway, so when they shoot like that, the Mandalorian realizes, look, they can track this thing. Which, by the way, How can they track him?
Yeah, I still don't know. In that very moment, I was just like, "Why? How is he here?"
And all of that,
it did take him 3 weeks to get there.
Well, it's true, but it's a way that you can't have it removed. If it's an implant, it can't be removed. It's got to be a DNA tracker. They have its DNA.
But they didn't until the third episode. They were able to track him. Like the Mandalorian was able to track him back in episode 0. Even before episode 1 started, they were tracking him already. So I don't know. They didn't have his DNA until the third episode. So I don't know how they're tracking him. They've always been able to track him without his DNA. So it's really
unless
weird.
They had his DNA before.
Oh,
unless another group did or something. I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's weird.
But
maybe
they
they'll
issue
explain
these
it.
tracking fobs all the time.
They may not explain. This may be one of those. It's
Star
just
Warsian.
It's just a draw. Like you got to have something. So
Yeah.
midichlorians because
Yeah. I mean, it goes all the way back to Empire Strikes Back, where they're tracking Han somehow. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he always shows up and is, running after Han. So
it's crazy. And then so basically,
he doesn't die. Obviously, Cara shoots him in the back, which I thought was a cool moment.
but
she is definitely on his side. Like she's not just a mercenary.
He's won her over.
Yeah.
enough to get the trust. Of
Well,
whatever.
and not only that, but at the end of the episode, she says, "Are you sure you don't want me to come with you?" Like,
yeah, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll back you up. And where in the first, a lot's changed with the Mandalorian. In the first episode, Kuil actually he tries to get Kuil. Like the Mandalorian is asking him, "Hey, I could really use a third on this ship," and he's like, "No, it's fine. This is my valley piece and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
And then in this one, it's flipped where she's like, "No, I want to come with you," and he turns her down. He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna ride solo." So a couple moments that we kind of skipped over in the episode that I thought were really interesting. All the stuff with the kids and Baby Yoda like half swallowing that frog, and then like the kid's reaction, "Oh, gross," or whatever, and then he spits it back out right in front of him. But I think some of the most meaningful quiet scenes in the episode were between him and Omera. Because she at one point is like really drilling him. Like she's like, "Hey, so you never take that thing off. When's the last time you took that helmet off?" He's like, "Well, yesterday." He's like, "No, you know what I mean. When was the last time you took it off in front of a person?" And he's like, "Well, I was a kid. Like I was the same age as those kids that are running around outside." Yeah. And he talks a little bit about how like when my parents died, the Mandalorians took me in. And this is the way. Like this is the way that we exist now. Like we never take our helmets off. And then there's that moment towards the very end. It's right after they finish the battle. She actually grabs his helmet, which
about to take it off.
He lets her do, which is really interesting.
This is back. No, this is when they're having their moment because Baby Yoda is playing with the kids.
Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah. The cowboy has run off.
He feels like maybe he's basically like, maybe this would be great to have a life and blah, 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 blah.
I truly believe, I mean, there's different interpretations out there for sure. I truly believe that he's really considering it.
Can you imagine if he's ugly under there?
I bet he's hideous.
And she's like, oh, dear God.
Oh, God.
Oh, what?
Not like this.
Well, helmet back on. Have a safe travels. Oh, my gosh. Not like this.
Not like this. I would love that. That'd be so funny. Someone's already made that YouTube video.
I'm sure.
But yeah, no, I really liked the moments between them, the two of them, and Cara sees it too because at one point she's like, "So what happens if you do take it off? Do they come and kill you?" Like has this kind of like funny moment.
He's like, "No, I'm just not one of them anymore."
Yeah, I just can't put it back on ever again. And she's like, "So you could hang all this up, go settle it down with that beautiful widow over there, and just live the rest of your life in peace." And he's like, "Yeah, but I can't do that. That's not the way."
Yeah.
Well. So interesting. He's very much the John Wayne.
It was almost like
cowboy.
Yeah, it was almost like the worst timing ever though, because she literally almost took it off, and he was about ready to get sniped in the head.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, could you imagine? The end. The end.
Did we skip over anything else? Anything else? You wanted
no, I mean not anything. There was a lot of building of his character, adding to the fact that Baby Yoda is a child. I mean, I say he's growing. He's 50 years old.
Yeah.
And so I
thought it was interesting to watch him walk by himself, like unaided.
Yeah.
Like
I think that was one of those things where they're like, look, are we going to have this stinking crib flying around forever? No. Let's just have it walk around. But even though he still looked, it didn't look like a puppet out there walking around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they've come a long way with that kind of stuff.
So looking over my notes, I think the only other thing that we skipped over is a pretty big moment actually. But at one point in the episode, he basically says, "I'm leaving and he's staying. I'm just going to abandon him and just leave him
And that's right
here."
where the assassin, the bounty hunter,
which that changes his mind because he's like, okay, they're just going to keep coming for this thing.
And if we stay here, the village is going to be in peril all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
And so he's like, I have to leave. So,
but yeah,
whether they ever see each other again, who knows?
At one point, he says goodbye to Cara. He actually goes to Omera and says goodbye to her. He's like, and that's when she tries to take the helmet off, and he says, "I don't belong here," but he does. He needs to stay here with you. And she's like, "I'll raise him as my own child, just like all my other children."
He has your eyes.
And so I thought that was a very interesting thing for his character to say, like that he he cares enough about the child to not just see it survive and not be hunted for the rest of his life, because at that point he didn't know they were still tracking him, but also that he would have a good life, because at one point he tells Cara, this isn't the life for a child. Like, yes. I don't want him just budding up, sidling up to a bounty hunter for the rest of his life. That's not how a child should be raised. And so he actually cares enough about the child to actually say, I want him to have a good life. And I thought that was really interesting too. There's a soft side to the Mandalorian that we didn't see until this episode.
And he did. I don't think he'd accessed it before we saw him. We've run into him.
Yeah.
So other than the fact that he wanted the foundlings to win, because the foundlings are our future.
They are our future.
Well, very good.
Favorite moments?
Favorite moment definitely was just the battle scene with the ATST is falling into the water. I definitely was really glad that there was another bounty hunter at the end. I was really glad that bounty hunter
we saw another.
Yeah, I didn't want him to have some struggle of the wills to. Oh, should I not? I love you though, and blah blah blah. I'm glad the bounty hunter's there to just be like, no, remember you're the Mandalorian. Remember the whole flamethrower in every episode. Oh, by the way, 4 in a row.
Yeah,
4 episodes and 4 uses of a flamethrower.
I love it.
And you're not lovey-dovey. We don't need that right now.
Right.
It was glad to see that part of him, but it was good to. I kind of wanted him and Cara Dune to get together. Well, honestly,
and they still could. I mean, you absolutely will see Cara again. I'll tell you what I saw after we hit stop. But I think for me, dude, that ATST with all of its rust and grime and moss growing on it, I was like,
red eyes.
Yeah, when it just the red eyes glowed up and that thing just kind of like just like it rose up out of the grass. I was like, it's on. Like I got immediate start like. All the chills,
think about how old that
my
thing
hair stood up on the back of my neck.
You know what I'm saying? That thing's probably been sitting around there on that planet
at least
forever.
5 years. Yeah, the Empire's been gone for 5 years. Basically, these raiders found this thing in the backwoods somewhere.
Time ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So this isn't their unit. Like they basically like commandeered it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, it gave me all the chills that I used to have when I was a kid. When I was watching Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, these walkers of like. Yes, this is Star Wars. This is as Star Wars as it gets. So I love that. And then just, spitting out the frog.
God.
I thought that was great.
And just all the Baby Yoda stuff. He's so good. It's such an added thing I didn't expect.
How is this thing not going to sell like millions of dollars of merchandise in the next couple months?
That's why Disney's genius.
Every kid is going to have a Baby Yoda for Christmas.
He is Groot. He's Baby Groot. He's E.T.
Yeah.
He's Gizmo from the Gremlins. He's all the things.
Is this the cutest like mascot type character that we've seen since Baby Groot?
And he's cute, but he's not an Ewok, so people aren't fighting against it like they did the Ewoks and that sort of thing.
I think I'd venture to say he's cuter than Baby Groot. Like as much as
I think so too.
As much as like especially girls like went gaga over Baby Groot. And I thought he was cute too. I don't know. Baby Yoda is about the cutest. And he crosses genders, like guys, girls. Everyone loves Baby Yoda.
Can I say this, though? He looks more real than Groot does. Groot, you look at it like, this is major CGI here.
Oh, yeah.
Baby Yoda, you're like, I know that's CGI.
So the way he walks, I'm glad you brought it up. The way he walks is very puppet. It's Henson style.
Yeah, it really is.
Kind of movement. Like he walks the way that Yoda walked in 5 and 6.
I mean, he's got 2-inch legs, so it's not like you know what I'm saying. I mean, he can't. You can't make major strides. So he's like, it's this little waddle back and forth thing.
But they're not even attempting to smooth it out. Like they could smooth out those movements of his legs and his body. And he would look CGI.
Like something from Phantom Menace.
Yeah, well, he would look like Jar Jar.
Oh,
yeah. But they're not even trying to do that, and I applaud them for that. I think that's great. Yeah.
Gosh. All right. Well, very good. I enjoyed it.
I'll be honest with you, Jack. The first time I watched it, I was like, okay, that's a good episode, but I liked every other episode better. Going back and watching it the second time, I was like, I don't know, man. This might be one of my favorite ones.
Because of what they're starting to really build out this other Star Wars thing they're doing. You're starting to really kind of buy into that character. This was a much deeper. This is a very much deeper dive into that character.
Yeah.
And you kind of see this other side. Like every episode is kind of opened up this other little window into this character. So pretty cool.
Other than episode 1, this is the most character development that we've seen, and probably the most lines that we've seen in an episode. That's true. So it's been a lot of fight, which has been fine. I think you need both, but this is the quiet episode of the season probably.
I am ready for more bounty hunters to chase him.
Yeah, I do want to see some action in the next one. But I'm glad we got this kind of valley in the peaks and valleys of the show. So
it's one of those two. If they do another one like this and it becomes a monster of the week, they don't have enough episodes for it to become monster of the week.
Right.
And you only have 8. You can't have one where they go shopping at the mall on Coruscant or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
hit baby gap for the child.
He needs to blend in, and then half the episodes him trying on outfits, and he was like, "Not that one." Dress for Success. Or putting on the Ritz is playing in the background.
I don't want the pink cardigan.
No, you will wear it. Oh, baby Yoda.
Wow. Questions, thoughts, predictions.
I just want more bounty hunters to chase him.
Yeah.
And I want him to have to fight him off, and I want it to be really creative how they do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's my hope. There's going to be some twist. And I'm not talking like I think that he'll get kidnapped. I hope it's by someone you don't expect, and I hope it's by some homage. I want more push toward I'm not saying the First Order, but more of that push toward this new kind of thing. And you may not get there. It's maybe too much in that dead zone of the Dark Ages, maybe per se.
Yeah.
After the Empire, before the First Order. And it may not even be possible.
They really only have about 2.5 hours left of storytelling.
So you're gonna have to really stretch to get to something like that. I just want some other homage. I want Lando Calrissian to come in and steal this baby.
Okay,
that's all I want. I just want something basic. I want Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's kid. Jango Hutt to Pizza the Hutt to come in and take this baby, and then it goes to season 2, and he's like, I gotta get this baby.
Yeah. Okay.
I got to fight off a Rancor to get this baby.
We'll see if any of those predictions come true.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Here's my prediction for the beginning of episode 5. I think they're still on Sorgan at the beginning of episode 5. I don't think that they leave either immediately. They may not leave at all. I think they probably do leave at some point. But if you, I didn't catch this until the second viewing. When the credits roll, they're in that speeder or I don't know, it's transport thing.
Yeah, a little flat thing.
And he's leaving the farming village, and then the credits roll. So he doesn't even, you don't even see his ship. So I think something happens on the way back to the ship.
Yeah, that's possible too.
I think that's how they start episode 5.
More bounty hunters.
Yeah, it could be back in the the cantina restaurant type of scene. It could be in the streets.
It's the Chili's they're
on. Here's a question for you about the series end. Does the series end with the Mandalorian retiring with Omera? Like
the entire series?
Yeah, like
is this thing only 8 episodes?
It's 8 episodes.
Like for all times?
Are you saying? Are you asking me?
Is there going to be a season 2?
Oh, I think there will be.
Oh, I thought you had some. You knew that. I feel like a moron right now. You made me feel like an idiot.
There'll be a season 2.
I look like an idiot.
I'm wondering if
nothing new.
If what we saw in episode 4 wasn't telegraphing what we're going to see at the end. If the payoff at the end of episode 8 is going to be like him actually taking off his helmet and saying, "I'm done."
There will be a battle.
Of course.
At the end, he will retire, much like Thanos, to the farm. And end up smooching on Omera at the end.
He takes the last scene is him taking off his helmet and smooching.
I don't know. That doesn't make. He can't be a Mandalorian anymore if he does that. I guess Boba Fett and Jango Fett technically aren't Mandalorians. They just wore Mandalorian armor.
Right.
So he can still wear the armor. He might just be like, you know what? Forget that whole thing.
But they could change the rules and let him back in for season 2.
Maybe he's like Martin Luther and he nails the 99 Thesis against the.
The rules have to change.
They will change. Too strict. I want to wear the armor and get all the benefits of being cool. Flamethrower.
I also think Cara's coming back. I think Kuil's coming back. And I don't have any...
His super team, Tank,
super knowledge, but...
The other Mandalorian. John Farber's character.
Yeah, he has to come back. I think all of our favorite characters are going to come back at some point.
I'm excited about it,
and probably in at least by the last episode.
And then next episode they go to the Gungan planet.
Yeah, You have to have that Avengers moment.
Misa, come with you, see. Oh, no. Misa live forever, too.
I feel like we should also say that I don't think you see any like known races in this and the rest of the series.
You're going to find there's going to be some old Jedi that escaped Order 66, that escaped to wherever, that survived through the Empire, and he's going to be like, we've got to help you get this Yoda to Dagobah. I don't know. Just saying.
I think one thing is clear. He's not going for that calamari, whatever character. The one that we thought was
I know, we were I'm bummed.
Son.
I'm a little bummed.
We're never going to see him.
I wanted to see the cool, swinging Admiral Akbar's son who's like, meh. I worked through my dad's trust fund. Dad's total square.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Come over here. I got a cocktail sauce spa treatment.
I am deeply impressed with what Jon Favreau is doing with this series.
Yeah, it's great.
It is distinctly Star Wars every episode.
It's awesome.
So, I love it.
Roll me this one. What have you been watching other than this show on Disney Plus?
I have not watched anything on Disney Plus in this last week. Jordan has watched every Toy Story movie at least twice.
Okay, good.
A piece. We went and saw, this is not on Disney Plus, but we did see Frozen 2, which was incredible. I'm not going to say anything about it. Go see it if you haven't seen it already. It is... If you love the first one, you will absolutely love the second one. It is a fantastic film. Not telling anything groundbreaking by saying that. What did Jordan want to watch on the car ride home from Nashville?
Frozen.
Immediately after we watched Frozen 2.
Frozen.
I want to watch Frozen, Daddy. I'm like, okay. I guess it's just going to be 4 hours of Elsa today. So yeah, she watched Frozen.
There you go.
And she watched it twice. Actually, she's seen it twice.
Do you remember on the horrible movie podcast we did a movie? At one point, you didn't do it. It was a Phil Lewis, and then we had another guest that came on, Corey Gordon, that came on the Yellowstone Cubs.
Oh yes,
watched it again.
Oh, just as good as the first.
It's on. Yeah, well, it's on Disney Plus. 1962.
Oh, I didn't know
it's
they put
really
it on there.
old. I didn't realize it was on there until the other day. I'm like, I wonder if Yellowstone Cubs is on there. And it's that part of Disney, like the old Davy Crockett TV show.
Yeah,
like all that old stuff's on there. It's amazing. Like, it's really cool to me.
I saw like Bedknobs
Apple Dumpling Gang is on Disney Plus.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks is on there. Like a lot of
Song
movies.
of the South, not on Disney Plus.
And it never will be.
And it never will be.
Yeah, there's some obscure stuff that you've never heard of that's on there. And then some of the obscure stuff that you have heard of is never going to be on there.
Never going to be on there. That will not be on there. There's just too many things. And different time. A different time.
I think the original Dumbo is on there, and I think some people have take some.
I think
political issues.
You know
with that,
this. We can take issue with a lot of things. I think that's just one of those things. You can try to erase the past, but there's no possible way to erase the past.
No.
So we just learn from the past and move forward. And we've improved. We've improved as a society.
Learn to ignore history like the rest of us.
Well, or just learn. Well, you learn from the mistakes of the past and try not to fall into the same, mistakes. It's hard, but not so hard that you have to make a movie that's the hell that. And there are other people. I will say this. I'm not trying to say you should watch Song of the South, but there are a lot of people that are like, well,
have you ever seen it?
I've watched a lot of it. I've watched most of it, and it is old timey. It's just that old timey stuff. I mean,
yeah.
They're not going to make that again. Like, there's no way.
No,
just saying.
They're never remaking.
It couldn't get
Song
made today. I mean, it could get made, but it ain't gonna get shown anywhere. Anyway,
other than Yellowstone Cubs,
just the fact that you can watch every Marvel movie on there basically.
Yeah,
I mean, for the most part now.
I can tell you this: in the next couple of weeks, I definitely will be rewatching The Last Jedi before I go see Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So
I just.
By the way, I already have 2 tickets for Rise of Skywalker on opening weekend.
Well, and I need to get on the horn there. But
I've got a Thursday night ticket and a Friday morning ticket.
I'm excited about it, and honestly, there are many people that I've said this voice to it. I've said it on social media. I've said it on our other show. I just didn't like Last Jedi. And I really, it is what it is. Like they made New Coke back in the day.
Yeah.
People were like, Coca-Cola, we need something different. Let's make New Coke. you don't have to change the formula to Star Wars. I'm okay if every Star Wars movie, if they wanted to make 20 more Star Wars movies and it was all called the Luke Skywalker Family Adventure, I would still watch it and be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't go to Chick-fil-A and go, I wonder if they'll make a burger for me. I'm okay with the chicken sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Last Jedi did so many things that were just like, okay, that's your take, I guess, on this. And my hope is that J.J. Abrams can find a way to make that into something that's his own thing, like he did in the first one.
Yeah,
I think episode 7.
I think he's forced to respond to some of the things that were set up in 8.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not?
Yeah.
While probably ignoring a bunch of other things. I bet there's some stuff that literally never gets addressed again.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, is it the worst movie of all time? No.
No.
Are there things
Come on, people. We had episode 1.
Are there some enjoyable parts of it? Yes, there are some enjoyable parts. And my beef with it is not like, and what makes me angry is when people start to attack the actors and actresses of it.
Right.
I mean, come on, people.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. They're actors and actresses.
Right.
My issue is really just how Rian Johnson just kind of, and here's what we're going to do with this. It's like, why? Like, I don't understand
Was
it.
the Casino Planet?
Well, I've watched Phantom Menace like 14 times, and I don't like that movie either. You know what I'm saying?
Was it?
It's like,
was it Fairy
saying,
Princess Leia?
That was weird. Like, that was weird that she was floating, like she was iced up, floating through space.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever get a Jedi payoff for her.
Yeah.
But we're left to believe that she is a Jedi or has power, obviously has the Force in her. Was it Poe Dameron is why. And the reason is Poe Dameron why is he went from swashbuckling, saving the day two times probably in that first movie, to now it's like, nope, he's an egotistical jerk.
Yeah.
And we don't trust him to give him the plans, and you're just a dumb pilot.
Yeah, I did think that was
like,
stupid.
That's weird. Like,
yeah.
Like, you had built him up in the first one, and now in the second one, you were like, hey, you're part of the JV squad. Get out of here.
Yeah, that was kind of
Laura
weird.
Dern's character was really weird.
Yeah.
Like, that was from nowhere.
I agree.
And not her. She's a great actress.
I think
I'm just like, I don't know what are we doing?
I think I liked the movie. I'm almost positive I liked the movie better than you did. But I agree with everything that you're telling me right now.
You remember when you saw O.J. Simpson's car chase, and you thought, why aren't those police just overtaking O.J. in that Bronco?
Yeah. They're just politely following him.
The rebels ship. I mean, they're just like politely, slowly following the what?
Yeah, you have hyperdrive. Like, just get ahead of him.
Anyway, Huck, General Hux or whatever his name is, he's a buffoon and he's kind of a moron.
Yeah,
he's like Darth Helmet from Spaceballs.
Darth Helmet.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he really is. Anyway, that's a rant. I don't know. I know how I've heard so many people rant about.
Has it soured you on 9?
No. Oh, no, I am pumped.
You were just as excited about 9.
Pumped.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, I've watched Last Jedi 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I've only seen it the one time.
I don't even, and again, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's like, I don't like it. And it's definitely one of the worst Star Wars movies in my book.
Yeah.
It really is.
I do think I was talking to somebody about this at work.
And we've
today.
talked about this, again, we've talked about this for hours on other shows.
Yeah. We'll wrap up the show here shortly, but
we're just kind of a longer episode.
Yeah, but I love talking Star Wars.
Yeah,
I can talk about Star Wars for hours. At work today, I was talking to somebody about how I think it's a little funny, the timing of The Mandalorian. Like, we won't have seen the final episode of The Mandalorian until we've already seen Rise of Skywalker. Like, it's kind of being juxtaposed in the middle of this 8-week series.
It just helps it.
Yeah,
I think it helps it.
I'm fine with it. Yeah. It's a little weird.
The other thing with Last Jedi, Finn's character, what are you doing? Like, you built him up, and honestly, to the point where, by the way, when you watch, I
really liked him and Rose together.
Yes.
I love their scenes together.
Yes.
But when you really stop and think about the side mission that they went on during Last Jedi, it's like, what is going on?
It's almost like they're like, well, we got these 2 characters. We need them to have something to do. Here you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's have them chase this rabbit to nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really, really
weird. And
weird.
And some of my favorite scenes were the 2 of them together.
And they're fine together. And it just was weird.
Though. Yeah.
It was really weird. And we got to free the horses on the casino planet. We know.
Well,
hey, listen, these aliens from a galaxy far, far away, long ago, galaxy far, far away. These alien horses need to be freed.
Yeah.
What?
I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about how they're like, so they go to this casino planet and they see all these horses, or whatever, and some slaves, and they decide to free the horses.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not the slaves?
Weird. Like, just in general, like, it's just the tone. Like, and I guess I struggle with maybe trying to juxtapose like current political talking points onto a fantasy movie that's technically for kids.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, just let a movie be a movie. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, anyway, it's weird. Anyway, so there you go. There's my rant. Good episode. Honestly, Mandalorian, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm still loving it. Yeah, I've been in since episode 1, but I'm still very much in. I just can't wait for every episode to come out. So, speaking of which, tune into episode 5 or chapter 5. I think they call them chapters of The Mandalorian on Friday as you're listening to this, and then we will drop another episode next Monday. We dropped this episode a little bit later just because of the holidays. We're traveling for Thanksgiving, so appreciate you just kind of being patient with that.
Yeah.
But we'll be back on time next week. Let us know what you want to hear on this podcast, or let us know your reviews. Send us an email. We'd love to include you in the show. Disney Plus, PLUS, disneyplusreviews at hotmail.com. If you want to get a hold of us, that's the best way to do it.
Send us a nice, concise email with some of your thoughts about The Mandalorian so far. Would you agree to read some emails?
Absolutely. I would love to.
So, yeah, we would love to read your emails. And honestly, audio. Record your voice audio as long as it sounds clean, as long as it's good, clean audio.
Yeah,
and honestly,
we run a clean show. So,
well, and I really said, when I said clean, I meant like good sounding audio. So go in, I'm gonna say this: go into like your closet where there's clothes,
exactly,
if you can, because that deadens the sound. Record it in your phone, and then email that recording to us. And the clean aspect of it, make sure you're not dropping F-bombs on the thing.
Keep it clean. It's a family show.
There's no need. Because honestly, guys, in Star Wars, there's not really cuss words that we know of, other than bantha fodder.
Yeah. That's
I think calling someone a womp rat. Now, if you call someone a womp rat, you're really saying something.
Yeah.
Little womp rat. All right. So, thanks, Phil.
Well, with that, thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next time here on Disney Plus Reviews. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.